Assalamu alaikum, Jumalang, Goeie Aand, good evening. Welcome to Salam Media. I'm Sir Faraz Takolia, your host tonight. This is Friday Night Live with me, ST. Hi, how's it going? Welcome to everybody around Gauteng, South Africa, Africa, and around the globe as well. Alhamdulillah, it's Friday, obviously. A Jum'ah that has gone by. We make shukr to the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity and the favor of witnessing yet another Mubarak day. Alhamdulillah, it is a Friday evening. Today is obviously the 9th of July. And hoping you've had a good week. It's been a bit nippy a few days ago in Gauteng, wherever you are at. Send us a shout out. You can also send us a WhatsApp, 061 766 0355. All of our Facebook Live viewers and YouTube, I see you, acknowledge one and all. How's it going, guys? What you guys doing tonight? Anyway, coming up on tonight's program, jam-packed. So firstly, something different tonight on the Go Wild segment. I'm going to be speaking to Pieter Potgieter, and he's from the Professional Hunters Association. And we're going to be discussing the impact, obviously, that with regards to COVID-19, how it's affected the hunting seasons, etc., all of that. And we're also going to discuss who and what is the Professional Hunting or Hunters Association of South Africa. Thereafter, we talk to, now here's something different. And wow, I must say this is something luxury. I'm going to be speaking to the founder of a premium luxury timepiece, and he is obviously Elman Koza. Now, I learned something earlier in the pre-intro. My production team were telling me. So, Skati in the Tsonga language is called Nkari. So I was telling them it brings some terkari. But anyway, those of you who get it. Thereafter, we're going to be discussing, obviously, his brand. It's something local. He's manufacturing a luxury timepiece. It looks awesome. The pictures will be put up by Sodek. And thereafter, now, I want your thoughts on the football segment. We're going to be discussing, obviously, the Euro final, Italy versus England. I don't know. Disappointments. What do you think? What do you make of it? Send through your comments as well. That's going to be around about 8 a.m. I'm going to be speaking to Len Moleko. And then at around 8:35 tonight, in the Car Talk segment, I speak to, obviously, no stranger to the program, motoring journalist Adam Ford and Moinuddin Gabi. We're going to be discussing now, watch out, okay? There's a new scam or some scam where motorists are using tools and you're buying used tools online, and they're using it to reverse a car's odometer, mileage, etc. So to avoid, obviously, yourself getting involved in this or being a victim to this, stay tuned. That's coming up about 8:35 or so, inshallah. Anyway, it's 7:05. Welcome to the program. We'll be back, and let's go wild. All right, so it's time for the Go Wild segment. Welcome back. Obviously, it's 7 p.m. Friday Night Live with ST. Okay, so we're going to be speaking to the president of the Professional Hunters Association of South Africa, and he's going to explain to us exactly how COVID-19 and this lockdown and everything else has affected this year's hunting season. And also, I'm going to be delving a bit deeper into Motsomi Safaris. I'd like to know if you visited the place. Send through your comments on 0617 660 355. Joining us now on the Go Wild segment, President of the Professional Hunters Association of South Africa, Mr. Pieter Potgieter.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here.
Awesome stuff, Mr. Potgieter. Goeie aand en goeie dag. En daar sy hou die blink aan bo, storm kan onder. President, daar sê ons maaks wel. We appreciate your time. Thanks for obviously joining us tonight. Okay, obviously being the president of the Professional Hunters Association, talk to us a bit about your involvement within, hunting. When did your hunting experience begin? And obviously you've now become the president of the PHASA.
Okay, well, I've been hunting since about the age of 6 years old, so I pretty much grew up with it, and it was a lifelong dream to actually make a career out of it, which happened about, about 25 years ago. I started doing it full-time as a career, and I soon after joined the Professional Hunters Association. And couple of years ago, I became the chairman of the foundation. The FASA has two legs. You've got the FASA itself, and then you've got the FASA Foundation. The FASA Foundation is where we do all the, charity work and help people and do conservation, research, all that kind of stuff. I was the chairman for 3 years. And then last year, November, I was elected to be the president of FASA itself. So I've been involved with it for quite a while.
I mean, obviously, it spans way over a decade, I'd say. Now, obviously, you mentioned from an early age you were involved in this. So, obviously, Dad was obviously involved in hunting. So, it's something within the family. Perhaps you come from a background of game reserves, perhaps, or what were some of your earliest memories, when you were going hunting? And what type of animals were you hunting?
Interesting enough, yes, I did come out of a family that hunted also. I was just a crazy one that went into it full time. They just pretty much went for the meat itself. I went for more than that. It was always for me about the challenge and see if I can match my skills to the animal. And that's how we gone further. My father, my granddad was actually the big hunter. So that's where the love came from. And from there on, the love of nature, the respect I have for the animals and so on. And like a lot of people don't realize, hunters are probably the best conservationists out there. And that's how I like to do it. And that's what FASA stands for as well. Is through conservation and livelihood, that's how we try to protect our game.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously inspired by excellence and innovation, and you support the conservation of ecologically sustainable development, right? And the use of obviously the natural resources, alhamdulillah, that which we've been blessed with, for the benefit of the current. And you talk about the future generation. Now, in terms of obviously creating more awareness for the future generation, in terms of their understanding of these animals and obviously the environment, etc., and the ecological sustainability long term, what do you think we should be trying to do differently and create more awareness with?
For starters, we must learn our kids that where does that meat that they like and the leather products that they use, where is it coming from? You're not going to go into Checkers and just find it there where nothing got hurt to put the meat on the shelves there. They need to know where it's coming from. And also, they need to know what sustainable utilization means. As you can only take off that can replenish itself. You can never take off more than what can naturally be produced and put back into nature. That's very, very important. And you also have to get your target species, your target sex, and your target age of the animal you're going for. So you don't want to kill a young animal that's not past its prime. You first want to get that genetics to be spread, and then there's the time when that animal genetic has passed its prime. So when you remove that animal from the gene pool, you don't have any major impact on the rest of the generation. But definitely, there's a huge loophole still to educate our youth, because unfortunately, as we all know, nowadays it's computer games and phone on the phones the whole time and stuff. Do they really come out in nature? Unfortunately, not. So you have to be careful.
Something important, and I always have this topic, when I discuss it with like my siblings or be it, with my nieces, cousins, and family and friends. You look at the younger generation today, as they call the AMA 2000 now, and I want their comments as well. You can interact with me, or you can comment below on the Facebook and on the YouTube. Their involvement. I mean, we used to be playing cricket out on the streets. Yes, okay, obviously we know COVID is here right now, fine. That being said, true fun was obviously going out. Everyone's definition of fun is different, but being out there exploring, getting the real feel, going hiking, going to the dam, or going for fishing, going hunting, as you say, going in the back of a Land Cruiser, whatever. Okay, and I don't want Toyota now to hold me liable for only mentioning Land Cruising. But anyway, the point being said that nowadays everyone's involved in obviously apps, and gaming is now, there's no physical contact. It's now only, be it on a mobile device and gaming device. So I want to talk about now, obviously, the impact this COVID-19, and now with this new variant and last year's level 5 lockdown, level 4, 3, whatever, How's it impacted, the hunting association, firstly, and obviously game reserve owners and hunters alike, professionals in this entire industry? What's been the impact, obviously, of the COVID-19, and how's the adaptability currently? How are you guys managing?
You know what? Last year was an absolute nightmare because as soon as international flights stopped, remember our main clientele is coming from abroad, from
Yes,
America.
well, the whole travel ban. Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly. So when that was shut, they literally cut down the industry overnight. Nobody could get in. Me personally, I had clients at the time. They were locked down with us. They were stuck here for a month. They couldn't leave the country. American clients. So yeah, that was horrific. Our whole industry literally came to a halt completely. But that's history. We moved on from that. Our local market was wonderful. They helped us a lot as game farm owners and outfitters and stuff. They came out and they hunted. So that was quite an income that at least helped. This year's completely different. We are heading to, I won't say another bad year. The year is pretty good. Let's put it like that. But the Delta variant is definitely having a negative effect on a lot of the clients that want to come over. But you must keep in mind, hunters are very adventurous people.
Yes.
So if there's half a chance that they can come across and they know they're not going to get quarantined, travel arrangements okay, and they'll be safe, they will jump on the opportunity and come. So currently our hunters are coming in, but Europe is still in a lockdown. Canada is still in a lockdown. So we're losing all those members or hunters, potential business, where Americans luckily are coming in. They are flying back and forth. So it's looking much better. But you must also not just look at us as a professor hunters and the association. We employ a lot of people. We supply food to a lot of people. So that also came to a halt. And especially last year, where you must remember when we do trophy hunting, we produce a lot of meat. Me, myself, produce probably about 40 tons of meat in a year from animals that we hunt. That meat gets utilized by you guys, by guys out there. That's where that meat goes. And nothing goes to waste. All that stuff was suddenly stopped last year. So those people could not get that meat. It's a cheap protein source that was just removed from the market. So we must look at a broader spectrum also.
Now, the broader spectrum, and I just want to come into that, obviously, pricing points and different elements, obviously, diversify from there. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. We can go on and on. If you look at a small area where's hunting? Hunting is not outside Joburg. It's not outside Cape Town. It's further out in the rural areas. So hunting is keeping those rural communities from the little co-op there to the little general store, the mini market, the little hairdresser, whatever. That gets
whatever. Yeah,
exactly. All that gets its money from the hunting industry and the people working there. So when that shut down, those small little towns suffered a lot. And most of us had to let our people go last year or cut down wages dramatically. Because remember, you went from, let's make a simple example, you went from a 10,000 Rand income to zero overnight. Absolutely nothing. So you had to look after your people and see what you could do. So yeah, it was very tough times. But we are back in the saddle. We are currently hunting. It's just really sad that our European clients and Canadians and stuff can't come in. There's unfortunately people that concentrate on that market. So as I'm speaking to you now, they still haven't had a single client in camp for like a year and a half. So there's still some tough times ahead.
Well, from what you've shared with us thus far, it clearly shows that obviously majority of obviously your clientele and people with interest with regards to hunting from an international perspective, being the US and Canada. And obviously, you've explained how the impacts obviously are. We do obviously pray that things do ease up a bit more. Now, I want to talk a bit about the Motsomi Safari Lodge, right? Now, I believe obviously it's a family-owned business between obviously yourself and Pieter Potgieter, and it's in Limpopo. Now, I obviously have a very good relation with people in Limpopo. I go there quite often, whether it's obviously out in Venda or out in Mawerileng, whichever part. And I appreciate the scenery and the fruit, obviously, of the Limpopo province. Now, talk to us about your family-owned Motsomi Safari.
Well, Motsomi was, like you said, it's family owned. We founded and it was started in 2000. So we're actually going for our 21st year anniversary this year.
Yes.
It's the main lodge is based in the Dwalboom Tabazimbi area. That's where I'm talking to you from. We've got several other lodges as well around South Africa. Now a few in Limpopo and then down further Free State area and so on. Yes, we run it on family principles. So we love to welcome families across. Yes, we do get single guys coming, or let's say guy groups and so on. But we are definitely set up to welcome families. Very comfortable accommodation, and we absolutely go for service at the end of the day. And you probably saw what our motto is: come as a client, leave as a friend, and that's absolutely 108% how we do it. You know what? And that's our return clientele that's pulling us through these tough times.
You know, looking at obviously your website and the pictures that people have shared of Motsomi, guys, go into Motsomi, onto the website, Motsomi, Motsomi, and go and have a look. Really a wonderful, neat, beautiful place. Obviously, with this whole lockdown thing and obviously travel ban and restrictions between provinces, it's difficult. You know, we do pray that things obviously change for one and all. Your passion with regards to obviously hunting, you said from an early age, your other siblings and you know your wife as well, and her involvement with hunting as well, does she also enjoy going out with you? Do you go with some of your family, or you prefer just going maybe alone early in the mornings?
No, you know what? I've got a boy and a girl. My son is already working for me. He's also a professional hunter. My daughter is an accountant, and she also loves hunting. So everybody in our family hunts actively except my wife. My wife hunted once, and it was a funeral. So she likes the processing of the meat, and she'll go out with us, but she's not a hunter. So which is actually good because it makes it cheaper at the end of the day. I don't have to pay for it to hunt. But,
well, let's hope she doesn't hunt you after this interview.
She luckily we all enjoy the wildlife and the outdoors and stuff like that. But yeah, no, all our family is into hunting and stuff, but really about conservation, not just about the killing. We really like wild animals, and that's our main purpose, to see if we can get them to do better out in the wild.
Now, Peter, I want to talk about membership with regards to the Hunting Association of South Africa. Let's say somebody obviously is now wanting to become a professional hunter. How did they go about the process? And you can talk to us about the foundation as well.
Okay. Well, firstly, if you want to become a member of FASA, the Professional Hunter Association, our website has all the details on it. We've got several different categories. If you are not a professional hunter and all that stuff, you can become what we call a friend of FASA. You don't have to have any qualification. To become obviously a full member, you have to be an outfitter or you have to be a professional hunter to become a full member, a voting member. And to become a professional hunter, I don't think we have enough time to explain that. There's certain courses you have to take with written and practical exams. And once you've passed that, then you will qualify in a certain province. And then you have to qualify for every province where you want to hunt. So South Africa don't currently have a national license. We only have a provincial license. So that's how you become a professional hunter.
Oh, so basically you can't have one membership and then based on a national level. Obviously, it's per province. Okay, now how would they go about that? Obviously, you've got to be involved within a certain hunting arrangement within a province, and then it's quite an interesting process.
Sorry, let me explain it to you like this. To become a member of FASA, when you're a member all over South Africa. That's national. But if you want to become a professional hunter as a business, as a career, then you qualify per province, because South Africa don't have a national professional hunter or PH license. So there you qualify per province. So you'll be registered in Limpopo. And if you want to hunt in Gauteng, you have to go write the exam for Gauteng, and then you will qualify for Gauteng, and so on and so on and so on. Okay. I know it's cumbersome, but that's how the law states at this point. I would go for a national license, absolutely.
No, definitely. I mean, I'd like to go to any part of the country, be it the Northwest Province or Limpopo, whichever part it is. Now, this obviously being the winter season, obviously in this time, well, at this time of the year, what type of animals are in season now when it comes to hunting? Obviously, in summer, obviously, I understand the different species, whatever. In the winter, what primarily are being hunted?
Okay, right now that's why we call it a hunting season. Most of the animals that does not have dependent young, and they are not really pregnant. They just pass a breeding season. So if they are currently pregnant, it might be literally like a couple of weeks or a month. So you're not going to kill a dependent young's mother. So for that reason, if you look at Limpopo specific, your popular species under South African guys specifically, you're going to look at your impala, and you're going to look at your warthog, your kudu, wildebeest. Those guys are your main ones in Limpopo. Then if you go further south, you're going to have buck, springbok, those guys. Now, if you look at trophies, yes, I can talk to you about that a long time. Kudu is obviously, if you look at an American time coming over, the main species will be on a first safari will be a kudu, against buck, and impala. Those are the first three. And then you'll get something like a zebra, and then the other ones will follow. Those are your more important ones. And then later on, you look at a Cape buffalo, and you look at sable, and then you can go further from there on.
Now, Pieter, in terms of being a professional hunter, right? Some challenges when you go out hunting that you'd like to share. And I mean, being a bow and rifle hunter yourself, what are some of the most difficult animals that you've hunted, and what was your most difficult experience?
You know what? Yeah, we can categorize they in difficult animals and difficult people. So difficult animals is easier to handle than difficult people. But the difficult animals is more about a challenge. I always up for a challenge. So if you can hunt a specific, really big old trophy animal, let's say Cape buffalo, which is a very clever animal, and if that animal is like, let's say, 12, 14 years old, he didn't become 12, 14 years old for being stupid. So that makes it very challenging to outwit that animal on foot. Because also we do not recommend hunting off a vehicle and stuff. There's nothing wrong. There's a time and a place for everything like that as well. But the challenge is to go on foot and see if you can outwit the animal and see if you can get it at the end of the day. So yeah, I can tell you a lot of stories about close calls and all that stuff. But you know what? Even the difficult lines, at the end of the day, when you put a rifle over your shoulder in the early morning and the sun get up and you've got a giraffe walking past between you and the sun, and you hear the birds waking up in the early morning, it makes it all worth it. Even that tough guy that you're walking with that doesn't want to listen to you makes it worth it at that point.
You sound like some of my fishing buddies when you say that. I understand where you're coming from. Okay, now, being the president, obviously, of the PHASA, your tips for somebody who is a first-time hunter, perhaps they're watching right now and, are quite keen on, embarking in this type of experience and perhaps taking a liking towards it. What would you like to share with them?
Well, definitely. Firstly, if you just want to be a hunter, you must keep in mind that your main goal is to take something's life. You have to be okay with that. And once you have figured that out, that you are okay with it, make sure that you are 100% proficient in what you do. You cannot target practice on a live animal. That's where ranges and paper targets are for. You have to be 100% sure that you are a proficient shot before you even venture out to go take a shot at an animal. Then one step further.
So the first thing, obviously, is target practice, right? So first, got to get a bit of experience. What would you say? I mean, what type of duration? Maybe 4 months, 6 months, a year. How long would the ideal time be for trying to get good target practice?
That's going to differ from person to person. If you grew up around firearms and you've been shooting with a pellet gun or a windbutch from a young age, obviously you're going to catch on quicker. But if, like you, I don't know if you hunt, but let's say if you pick up a rifle today, it's not going to be that quick because you don't have a background of it. So it'll take you longer to get into it because you need to be.
But you never know, eh? You never know.
perhaps you're an exception on the rule. What the big mistake that people do is they sit on a bench, like at a shooting range on a bench with sandbags, and that's what they call practice. That's not practice. Yes. Nobody's going to run around with a bench and sandbags when you're out there hunting. So you need to practice in practical settings. Use shooting sticks, use a pole, sit on your ass, shoot over your knee, do practical things, because that's what's going to happen out in the bush where you actually hunt. So don't sit on a bench and shoot and then
Real
tell
life
someone to
scenario,
practice.
basically. You got to be obviously in a real life environment. Correct. I get you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, that's not practice. That's just target shooting. And at the end of the day, it's not going to help you at all when you have a live animal in front of you. And remember, when that target starts breathing, that's a completely different ballgame than having a piece of paper in front of you.
Now, okay, so you mentioned target practice, obviously being the obvious. In addition to that, right? Obviously, anything else you'd like to say with regards to being a first-time hunter? Maybe a fear factor or some of the encounters you've had with first-time hunters. What have you noticed that people have? Maybe is it a fear factor or something that they need to like negate from the mentality, or what would you say?
You know what? Very, very important is go with a seasoned hunter when you go out. Do not just go with a tracker on a game farm. That's not going to work. Go with an uncle, go with a dad, go with a mom, whoever you want to go with. But go with someone that can help you, because you're going to need help. Calm your nerves down. Make sure the shot is right. Because the worst thing you want to do as a first-time hunter is to wound an animal. That can make or break a career, because you're going to feel very guilty, and you should actually, when you hurt an animal, as long as you go after it and still put it down, because you hurt it, you need to kill it, plain and simple. You can't leave a wounded animal out there to suffer. So for a first-time hunter, that could be crucial for the rest of his life if he has that bad experience. So you want him to be successful, and if you take a seasoned hunter with him that can guide him, that's definitely very, very important to have the help. And do not go over your limit. If you are comfortable at 100 yards, do not take a shot at 150. If the shot does not present it at 100 yards, walk away. Do not take a chance.
Okay, now I want to talk about the offerings at Motsomi Safari, right? You got rifle hunting, bow hunting, and I see you do photographical safaris, right? Like
Yes.
Madikwe Game Reserve. I've actually had the privilege of visiting the Madikwe Game Reserve. It's, I think, close to Zeerust, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah, in a very long sand road. But anyway, what a beautiful experience I had. Wow, I must say. Madikwe was really, I was blown away. Anyway, what are some of the offerings at Motsomi? And, whether it's people who enjoy rifle hunting, or maybe they just want to go and enjoy a great African experience. Talk to us about what you offer there and reservations, etc.
Okay. Yes. We actually border the Madikwe Nature Reserve. We are Zeerust is on the southern side. We are on the northern side. We are on the Limpopo side of the Madikwe Game Reserve. That's where our main lodge is situated. And yes, like you just said, we do bow hunting, rifle hunting, handgun, any form of hunting that is legal in South Africa. We can offer that. And then apart from that, we also do photo excursions to places like Kruger National Park, Pilanesberg, a lot of different parks. We arrange trips to Cape Town, Victoria Falls, all that kind of stuff. Because typically our hunters will quite often come for, let's say, a 7 or a 10-day hunt if you look at international hunters. And then after that, they might want to add a 3 or 4 days sightseeing, going to Kruger National Park or flying to Victoria Falls and stuff like that. So there's quite a few things. And then just something else also, we also have, Motsomi also have a company in Tanzania. So we also have a hunting company in Tanzania. So that's another option and something completely different that we can offer as well in Tanzania for, just a complete different experience in South Africa.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the website, and I was looking at some of the Zoom events that you've had. Well, I see some were obviously cancelled in that regard, unfortunately, for the US. I see a lot of US interest, I must see, based on here. Okay, now in terms of, moving forward now and adaptability right now during this whole pandemic, how are you guys managing in terms of sustainability, and what's the effects been on, the environment and animal wildlife itself?
You know what? Yeah, I don't think on the animals it was actually a negative impact, to be honest with you. The animals almost, it looked like they had a rest period,
a break,
because people didn't bother them.
No,
and that's not just hunting wise. Even if you go to Kruger National Park, which I've already spent quite a few weeks this year there with Heinz, and it looked like the animals kind of a little bit more relaxed because people just didn't bother them for a year or so. So there was not a negative impact, according to me, on animals. Yes, definitely on finances and money for conservation and research and all that stuff. All that stuff went completely down the tubes because without hunting, there was no funding. You were asking earlier about the foundation. The
Yes.
foundation has a very, very big leopard research project, which is mainly in Limpopo right now, but we will expand as well probably.
Yeah, and I
But the
want to
thing
talk
is,
about the foundation. Obviously, it says
yeah,
obviously you obviously making it possible to determine leopard density on privately owned land in South Africa. So obviously, it's about conservation of this specific animal, the leopard. So that basically, hunting that's been happening with regards to this, or is there maybe a severe impact with regards to or a threat to leopard wildlife in the country? What's exactly been happening here?
you see, that's exactly what we try to determine. Being a landowner myself, we can see that the leopard population has really increased, but we need the
Okay.
scientific facts to prove that. So that's
Mhm.
why we've bought over 200 trail cameras that we are putting out in certain areas in South Africa with scientists that is monitoring it according to the South African National Biodiversity Institute's regulations in how it should be done. That way, every cat that gets photographed or videoed get identified. So when we are done with a 10,000 hectare block, we can tell you exactly there's 5 males, 3 females, and 3 cubs in that area. So that way we can do a leopard population. And according to the leopard population, we can determine it's healthy. So according to that, with let's say a 3 or a 5% takeoff, we can probably remove 1 cat there without damaging the population at all. And if you take an old cat out, you have even less of a impact on the population. So we are trying to see that, make sure that there's enough cats. And being hunters as well, if there's not enough cats, we're not going to hunt them, plain and simple. We don't want to be the detrimental to the population of leopard in the country at all. So we are funding that out of hunters' pockets to be able to see if there's enough leopards and what the densities are.
Now, Peter, in conclusion, obviously, as we are drawing for time, with regards to the conservation and your message for people with regards to research and hunting, etc., what would you like to just share with them?
You know what? I would love people to get involved. Get involved in conservation. Get involved in research, but make sure where you get involved. Because
Right.
unfortunately, a lot of the so-called organizations out there that's doing this, the money is not on ground level. The money disappears into salaries and stuff like that. Go for a real non-profit organization where at least 95% of the money that is collected is actually going into conservation and research. And we all can do a little bit by getting involved in that. Nature and the wildlife out there really need us. And people can't just look the other way and think somebody else is going to do it. Then we're going to destroy our wildlife, and our kids is going to look at them in zoos.
Oh, well, it's been great having you on our program, President Pieter Potgieter of the PHASA. Thank you for your time tonight and for talking to us about the Motsomi Safari. It really looks amazing, guys. Go onto the website, motsomi.com, and have a look at it. Mr. Potgieter, we thank you so much for your time tonight. Have a wonderful evening.
Appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye. That was obviously the president of the PHASA, Mr. Pieter Potgieter. It brings us now to 1734, right? No, 1934, rather, 34 minutes after 7 p.m. We'll be back shortly. We're going to be obviously discussing a magnificent, luxurious timepiece. I'm so excited to discuss that. We'll be back after this.